Hey, it's Aaron with the Mowing in the Dark Lawn Care Podcast.
Hey, this is Tony's Lawn Care Talk.
Hey guys, Cameron here with the Lawn Care Life in Nursery.
Hey guys, this is Dan White with Lawn Care Unscripted.
What up guys, it's Phil with Phil's Lawn Care.
And you're listening to the Turf Nerds.
Live from the Stempky Nursery Christmas Tree Pop-Up Lot, it's Turf Nerds, a lawn care podcast with Evan Lindman and Greg Durbin, powered by Green Frog Web Design. Sign up today for only $1, and if you don't, Uncle Greg will steal your Christmas tree.
Hello, this
Greg, this might be one of the coldest live podcasts the Turf Nerds will ever do, correct?
I am pretty sure of that. If you ask me to do another one like this, it might not happen.
Well, at least I know you guys are legitimate. If you're willing to do a podcast in this weather, you guys are totally legitimate.
Well, guys, Greg and I, we're a lawn care podcast. We've been doing fall cleanups right now, but Greg, we're not doing any cleanups now because the snow has come into southeastern Michigan. Our family's got our Christmas trees. We always buy a live tree, and we are with Fred Stempky from Stempky Nursery way up there in Sheboygan.
Yay!
Fred,
Yes.
you grow a lot of trees, don't you?
I grow a lot of trees. We've, if you want to give a little history, we've been in it 67, 68 years, or I think that the kids figured out from my dad. My father started it. Unfortunately, he passed away fairly early, and when I was in my early 20s, and as we were talking, I left college as a half semester early to go because I had to come up north and take over, but I love it. I've been doing it now. We've got about 400 to 500 acres planted, but that seems like a daunting figure, but I grow 9 kinds of trees because we also had a seedling nursery, so we experimented with other types of trees, and so we still bring 9 types of trees down here. So you need a lot of acreage because, the average years of harvest, it takes 12 to 13 years. The further north you go, you add a year or so. Mid-state gains a year, and down south gains maybe 2 years. Oh. So we have to, that's why you need a lot of property. You just got to keep spreading them out, and with that many types of trees, you need to plant and keep replanting because you got to think ahead 12 to 14 years ahead.
Now, do you have to be concerned? If I think about farmers, that you can't plant tomatoes in the same in the same section each year. So is that a concern for you? Do you let it go feral for a year or so?
We let it go for 3 years.
3?
Yeah, and then clean it, keep cleaning it, and then remove vegetation and spray it to get it clean. And you sometimes, if the stumps don't rot out, you got to remove the stumps and then replant.
Okay. What are you putting down on the stumps to rot them out then? Do you put anything down?
Basically, we just cut it ground level.
Okay.
We have a large cutter with 64 teeth on it, so you can't dull a chainsaw doing it that.
No.
And so we walk and we cut them ground level and just let nature kind of, with the ground moisture, it rots them pretty quick.
Okay. So tell us a little bit. How many trees do you have on the farm up there?
Well, I've got about 80,000 trees growing, and even though you got that many acres, that
really?
seems like I said.
Wow.
To me, that doesn't seem like a lot. Like I was saying, earlier, I'm not a very, I'm a small potato in the tree business. The big people have or hundreds of thousands of trees, but 80,000 is enough. Being that every tree's got to be hand sheared every year, and we hand fertilize each one carrying a bucket, and we're old style. And my dad kind of instituted us, said do it the right way, do it by hand. So it takes a bit. It's as soon as the snow goes, we're full time from then until the end of August, just with the care types of things, and then we get a little break, but I do digging. I dig some of the trees, and we dig them for yards and such.
So you say that your dad started this business, right?
My father founded it.
How do you get into the tree growing, Christmas tree business, and how do you find 500 acres to do that? Because I was talking to Greg about this, Greg. We're saying, Greg, I don't think I could ever get into the tree business just starting up because you can't find 500 acres really anywhere right now, except for going way up there into the UP, right?
Well, see, we're not far from the UP. We're only about 20 miles from the bridge. So luckily...
You're based in Sheboygan.
Right in Sheboygan, just a little in between Sheboygan and Indian River. I'm about 9 miles out of Sheboygan, but my father came from a very large family. There was 10 kids, and so each one of them had properties that they used to farm. Everybody has small farms, and so when they decided to quit their farming type of thing as they're growing up, he purchased property from some of the aunts and uncles and his brothers and sisters, and just expanded, and thus ended up with a pile of acres of land, and we planted it all. So the only unfortunate part of that is I've got one central field, but I've got about a dozen, fields here, there, wherever, which it kind of makes it a little difficult with equipment moving and things like that. But it's fine. It's fine. And we're used to it, and he did it, and I just keep doing the same darn thing,
Now, I didn't tell you this, but a guy I used to work with, I used to work at the Country Club Lansing, and the general manager of the grounds crew out there I worked for, a couple of years later, I'm working at another company, and I started talking to this one guy, and come to find out that my old boss had a Christmas tree farm. This guy was his brother-in-law.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So it's just kind of funny that the Country Club of Lansing keeps coming back to me here a little bit.
Right.
It's funny, Greg drops the Country Club of Lansing almost in every episode, but he always finds a way to weave in things with that. So that's fantastic. Now, we talk on the show, Greg and I talk shop about business here. Now, the tree business, Fred, I imagine this is a pretty scrupulous business in the sense of you have to know how to properly care for a tree, and profit margins on the tree and the long-term overhaul. I mean, you got a pretty good financial empire here if you do it right.
If
correct?
you do it right.
He built a lawn care business in his late 50s, and he's doing very well. But I don't think it's that easy as just building the lawn care business like off a whim. Correct? It takes time.
Oh no, I mean, just the business has changed so much since my father was in it versus when we're doing it, but it's still everything. The majority is done by hand. That's the thing. Everything's all by hand. It's mechanical. I mean, we have obviously chainsaws and cutters now, and the sprayers and stuff. But everything is just kind of a hands-on job. But I've changed dramatically since my father did it. Well, I mean, just as a minute example, when, if you look around this tree lot, I have 9 kinds of trees. When my father had his tree lot, and he had it for, 60, I've been in it 43, so, he had it for 30 years before, almost 30 years before me. 90% of the trees that he used to bring down were all one variety, Scotch pine. And throughout the state of Michigan, you'll see Michigan at that time was the second largest, now the third largest grower of Christmas trees, but every field was full of Scotch pine. So now, just for example, I have planted my last Scotch pine, and I'm phasing out of them. Everybody's elevating towards the short needled trees, the firs, and so now we grow 5 kinds of firs, and 3 types of spruces, and then we still have some pine, of course, like the white pine and Scotch pine, but the market changed so much since I started, and I was a little kid with my dad. It's just dramatic change. So we've adapted, and but the care is changed. I mean, we used to furrow plant before. You'd bury it in a 10-inch furrow, well, then trying to walk through them. Now we work it up and surface plant, and you get the nutrients from the top part of the soil. You don't rip off the top soil. That's helped us. Plus, it helps take care of the fields easier. I mean, so many little things have changed that you don't even notice that you did, but it makes a big difference,
Now, you say things have changed. How was the prices of the trees have changed from the 50s until now? Inflation, we're all getting jobbed with that. Hopefully things change, but how do you cover your butt here with the cost for a tree? Because this takes time to grow. I mean, the trees that were sitting behind here, when were they planted and how old are they?
Well, like the pine luckily grow faster, but these are still, again, 13 to 14 years old. 12, you start cutting at about 11 to 12, and then you just gradually, it takes 4 or 5 years per section of plantation. But with that many types of trees that we have, again, that's what requires that amount of acreage, because you've got them sets of, you just got to set aside 13, 14 years in a plot when you plant it. I don't interplant after I clear the whole field, so you need that entire section dedicated for those trees. So that's why you tie up so much property. But, as far as being efficient, though, I would say that we harvest probably close to 80% of our trees, because we take more care of them. Just better care. Weed control, grass control. Our fields look a lot different than they did then. We didn't have. I know that's the thing that somebody doesn't like to hear, but Roundup. Oh
boy, there you go.
But anyway, we clean the fields, and then up until they're 2-3 feet high, they're sprayed. Then we mow in between them. So we get a more efficient per acre yield than my father did when he did it. I mean, his motive was just plant a bunch and then weed out the good ones. And but
it's like mow and go, Greg, right?
It works.
And it works. It of course it worked for him. But now with the cost of everything being so high, labor, everything is up dramatically.
It's got to be efficient.
You have to be efficient, and so that I think has been the key to us maintaining what we maintain is becoming dramatically more efficient.
Okay, we're down here in Livonia. What's the address here again?
35175 Plymouth Road.
35175 Plymouth Road in Livonia. And how many trees did you bring down here with you?
We brought down 1,000 trees, and then I brought a few tabletops. So with them, 1,025. But we've been here. The lucky thing is, in our places, we've been at this lot for 47 years. So people know us here. They know what we have. And luckily, I know what we'll probably be able to sell. And so luckily, you're not left with, too many trees left over. Luckily, in the last 4 years, with the shortage, I've had hardly any trees left over.
Now, to clarify, guys, if we didn't say it, maybe I wasn't clear. They're bringing the trees about 4.5 hours down.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they had this lot set up for 47 years. My brother discovered this a couple years ago, and we're like, Sheboygan, we used to have a little family cottage up there near Duncan Bay. And so, guys, this is hate calling it, but a pop-up tree stand that you put on for a couple weeks, Fred.
Yeah,
right? And
about 3 weeks,
3 weeks, and it's
weeks.
obviously profitable, right? Like, you guys wouldn't do this if you weren't making any money. So,
no, I mean, people down here have been phenomenal to us.
How did you pick this spot 4 hours downstate?
My father, we had cousins in Livonia. And my dad originally was in Detroit, right in the midst of Detroit. And when my cousins moved, he moved. And so luckily they moved to Livonia, and then he found an open lot, and we were just across the road. He was across there for 7 years, and then they built a strip mall. And then this was vacant, and we come and talk to the owners here, and we've had a great relationship with the Saturn Printing people, and luckily they've not done anything with the lot, and we just keep coming year after year. And I mean, now we know when we come in, it's like setting up at the circus. A couple nephews.
It's like Christmas coming down here, right?
Christmas. My nephews come. I mean, everybody's no steps are wasted. We put a pound of steaks in. We put the light poles in. The trailer's in the same old spot. It's kind of just pretty easy to set up when you do it the same way. Year after year after year after year.
Kind of learned your method.
We kind of learned a method, and whatever works and what doesn't work, we get rid of.
Okay.
Right.
So you also do wholesale?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
And when do you cut these trees?
Okay, we start cutting, the different types of trees can be cut early. The pine can be cut earlier. We start them in the third weekend in October. And again, since I only harvest, I say only 3,500, again, that's minuscule in the big picture. But we start cutting then the firs, we start cutting the 1st of November. This year I pushed that back because of the heat and the drought situation up there. I pushed it back to the 5th to 6th of November, and then we have to be done because we ship them out between the 14th and 20th of November.
Okay, so you bring 1,000 here, you ship out 2,500?
2,500, yeah.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I mean, I was explaining to you, I'm a small potato in the big picture, but we send a load to Missouri, Kirkland, Missouri. We send one to southern Florida, Naples, Florida, and then Indiana gets a little load. There's a place from Ohio gets a little load. And people are calling because I alluded to that a little earlier. There is a Christmas tree shortage, and I think it's overblown a little bit. But I think some of that, there's still a lot of trees and there's a lot of good growers. But there is a comparative to 6 to 15 years ago. There is a dramatic difference in things. The small farms are being
overtaken,
diluted, and they're just going out of business. The older people got out. There was a period, I'm not going to get into terrible history, but before 6 years ago or so, I only harvested about half to 2/3 of the harvestable trees because there was no market.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the pendulum switched, and I could have sold 20 times more than I had available. It's changed that drastic just over the last 5-6 years.
Huh. All right. All right, here's a good one. Have you had any chance to put one up at the state capitol or any of the state capitals at all?
Oh, boy, here we go.
We've never
stumper question from Greg.
We've never been that lucky, but we do take a tree down to this restaurant, Whitney Restaurant, down on Riverfront, down in Detroit.
Whitney.
And we take a 20-footer down to them. They started that tradition about 15 years ago, and it's a pretty cool deal, but it's a monster tree, and it takes all handwood. My nephew built a baler out of a tractor tire. See, I mean, and he cut the insides of a tractor trailer out, welded it, mounted it to a trailer. We rolled the tree on with, by hand, and then pull it through with the tractor, and then hand wrap it, and we load it on the semi with about 4 of these big guys that I'm lucky enough to have working, and we slide it onto the pickup and deliver it to them every year.
What size tree do they put up at the Capitol?
20-footer.
Yeah, you're doing one. Yeah, at the Whitney.
That's as big as we get. I bring a lot of big trees.
Okay.
I let the trees grow an extra year or two because we found this market. There's a lot of the stores and the box stores and the things. They'll handle a lot of 6 to 7, 7 to 8 at the biggest. But I don't even hardly cut any 6 to 7s. We go 7 to 8s, 8 to 9s, and then we carry a multiple amount of 10 to 15 foot.
Wow. What's the biggest one you sold for somebody's home? 15 foot then?
It was 16 and a half feet. Yeah, because
That's a big tree, isn't that? Would not fit in my house. That'd be 2 trees.
But here's the thing: they do it just about every year. They said we don't even have to open it out of the bale. They just said we want the biggest tree you brought.
Wow.
So,
that's some pressure on you, Fred.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
It better be a good-looking tree.
The good thing is I do all the tagging myself.
Tagging your harvesting, whatever you call it.
I tag all the thing, and then I cut them too. So I know what I've got there. So I'm pretty comfortable with it doing it. I mean, we sell a good bunch of trees that we don't even open. They just come and they say, "I trust you." They give us the size we want, and I pick them one out, and they text me back and say, "Yep, thumbs up."
So you say you have 9 trees here on the lot.
9 varieties.
9 different varieties. What are they? And then what are the top 3 that everyone here and around the world would probably buy? What are the top 3 trees?
It's very easy to get to that. The firs have become the number one seller. And so we bring, Fraser fir, balsam fir, Douglas fir, Concolin fir, and now there's a new one that we brought for now the 3rd year. Canaan fir is a cross. They made a cross between the balsam and the Frasers.
I think we bought that today. We looked at it looked nice and just bought it. It was off a whim. Guys, if you watch the show live right now, we're all freezing and the snow's coming a little bit down. But anyways, that's who are.
Yeah, and I had to give you a lot of kudos. He brought your son out here, and he's loving it more than anybody else here. But it's tough. But yeah, that's the fir tree, short needle in specific, but the fir tree because they hold their needles well, they're aromatic, they're easy to decorate. That has now become the number by far. Like I said, everything when my dad did was 95% Scotch pine. Now it's probably 3% Scotch pine.
Wow.
It's that elevation of change is amazing. Now there's short needle trees we bring too, because when we grow them, they're used more for landscaping. The spruces, the Norway spruce, and the blue spruce, somewhat although it's fading out with the disease that they had on the southern Michigan.
Did you lose a lot? Or?
We weren't so bad because of our temperature. We weren't as affected as dramatically as you were in the southern half of the southern half of the state. So we still do plant blue spruce up there, and then white spruce. So those 3 spruces, there's black hills also, but they're more of a yard tree. But the Norway spruce, of course, has become one of the top. And our yard trees because they disease resistant and they grow nice. They look nice when they get big.
Was that a mold on the blue spruce, or
what?
Okay.
It was a fungus.
A fungus, okay, and it can't handle the cooler
weather.
Well,
the colder weather, kind of controlled it because fungus is brought on by moisture and heat.
Yeah.
So being that we are decisively colder up there. And, it handles it a little bit on its own.
All right. Got to mention, too, we're both Chippewas.
Yes, we brought that up there.
Greg's talking to Freddie, and Greg's like, he went to the same college as me. I'm like, Greg always finds common ground with anyone here, but I don't know if you missed us saying it. How come the pines have kind of faded out in popularity? They're just hard to decorate, as you were talking about?
They're just harder to decorate, and they're not very aromatic. I mean, there's not a lot of smell to them.
People like that piney, like almost like air freshener tree smell, Greg. Right?
100%. You know, and you know the thing about them though is they hold their needles forever, and that's why they were, you know, they literally hold them forever. But the firs, you know, the Fraser is an extremely good holder. The Canaan now is too. The balsam is, we call them in the medium range. They'll hold 5 to 6 weeks. The Douglas fir always has been a good, you know. So the firs hold their needles good. Pine held them forever. You know, that's just the way it is. But
now, pricing here, how do you price different classes of tree? Because I mean, Greg and I, we know how to value our time, but how do you price like this? I hate to say it, a cheap tree versus a more of like an expensive tree, like cars or, you know, something like that.
Sure. Nope. That's a great question. I mean, it's all based on, well, first of all, it is based a little bit on demand. I'm not going to lie. You know, I mean,
that's fair.
I think that's an honest question. The demand right now is for the Fraser fir and, you know, any of the other offshoots of it. You know, they're experimenting. There's Korean fir. You know, there's about 2 or 3 other kinds of firs, but it's just become because of the ease of decoration and the smell, and I get I just watch the, you know, people elevate away from the long needle to the short needle tree, and just so we followed that fad. We planted with it, but again, you're guessing 12 years ahead of the market.
That's right. I was thinking exactly when you said that, just before you said that.
You're totally, it's a guess. I mean, and you just hope you guess right.
Yeah.
But,
that's tough. Have you guessed wrong?
I've guessed wrong before.
Have you?
Well, see, again, a little bit more history. My father also had a seedling nursery. I did too for 25 years. And when that market I told you was starting to fade, we weren't selling the seedlings. And so I decided, geez, that's one thing I could, you know, probably shave off and save. It was very time consuming with watering and fertilizing. And you're growing a 1-inch seedling, you know, that only grows 1 inch, 1.5 inches the first year. It's a delicate, you know, plant. And but we did it, and we wholesaled seedlings to other growers and soil conservation districts and things like that, you know, for programs. But
this is raw and real, guys. How you like that chainsaw there in the background? No, this is raw special effects, right? Anyway, sorry, Fred.
Well, no. But remember, that's a good thing, because that means the tree was just sold.
That is good. So every time, guys, every time
the change, it's kind of like the bell ringing on Wonderful Life.
Exactly. No, you're spot on. You're spot on. Yeah.
That's funny.
Per year, Greg. Sorry, Fred. Sorry, I said Greg. Fred, we have about 4 minutes left. So you have 88,000 trees.
I'd say
on your lot.
In my lot up at north,
up north, and he brings about 1,000 down here.
Yep.
That's a pretty good budget.
Yeah,
Greg,
I mean, we have elevated up from that too.
We don't plan 12 years ahead for mowing, Greg. We plan in the mowing industry. We have to plan just season to season, because we either have really hot seasons or hot, wet, and dry. But Greg, you would say this past years it's been all wet. The growth for at least the grass has been nonstop.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Last 2 years have been really wet. And you said it's been dry up there.
Well, it was dry in the summer. Now, just to give you how much weather affects us. A year ago, last year's growing season, the Fraser fir is a delicate tree to grow. That maybe that's why it's you know, so not so popular, but so much in demand. Because some people fail at it. You get site preparation, the choice of site has become so important, and that's where I made some screw ups that I was telling you about earlier. But anyway, just for example, last year on some of the trees, they were so stunted, we only got like 2.5 inches of growth on some of the trees.
Oh, wow.
This year we had anywhere from 8 to 14 inches of growth, because we had a perfect spring. Warm, wet as heck, not too wet, but warm and enough moisture to go with it, and the trees just exploded.
Wow.
It was a phenomenal growing year.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Glad to hear that. Boy, this has been great. I've really enjoyed this. I encourage everybody to come down here. 35175.
No, 35175.
35175.
Just look for
Plymouth Road.
Saturn Printing Building, and we're in their parking lot.
If we have any local listeners, come on down. But I think this was a really cool and different episode, Greg, because I was always just thinking, wait, we're by the Christmas tree.
Really cool.
I'm like, well, the reason why we usually have this a tad longer, guys, we're absolutely just frozen here right now. I was actually salting out there with my buddies this morning, so I helped my buddies plow snow. So I've been up since 2 a.m. We were salting all of our commercial lots, but they were getting hammered, guys, hammered with snow way up there in northern Michigan. Like Indian River got like a foot, I think. Sheboygan got close to that.
Sioux say Regis? They got 2 feet.
Munising,
Yeah.
I think, got over a foot too. Man, we haven't had a foot of snow down here, but Greg and I are not ready for the snow yet because we still have fall cleanups to try to get to. So
this is going to head back out Monday.
This is a really themed episode here right now, guys. And even if you don't, is that me coming through?
Nope. Unfortunately, that's me.
But guys, if you buy, Greg just put up his fake tree because he's not very cool anymore.
That's all right, Greg.
He put up
That's all right.
fake tree, but we've always bought real and live trees. And if you guys do, we'd love to hear about it. Shoot us an email. If you guys want a free Turf Nerds sticker, email us. We have free stickers that only one person has wanted to get for free. I don't think it's people listen all the way through just don't care, Greg, right?
No, we're but we've got stuff available if folks want it, hats and shirts and stuff. We don't make any money on it, and just out there available for people. I just looked at my phone, by the way. It's 23 degrees with the wind chill. It feels like 8.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not saying we're used to it. Nobody's used to it. But I'm giving you guys a lot of credit for this fortitude. This was, you guys set up and you're sitting here. I'm giving you guys a ton of credit. So obviously you guys are pretty good business people too.
We had to use the holly berry tablecloth.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And your card playing table. But, guys, if you come on down, tell them the Turf Nerds sent you, and Fred might discount you $1 on a tree.
There you go. I would love to. Love to. For
We'd
sure.
love to stay and talk more, Fred, but it looks like Greg is about to hit the sauna, guys. So. Fred, thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
I totally appreciate it.